friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today we're going to do a fun little update on the two big projects that we have going on here at Creekside and our house. There are also all sorts of little flying things around, so if you see something going in the camera, just ignore them and just carry on. Jerry always says that fall is the time when all the living creatures, like this is their last hurrah. But you just saw a really fun little video montage of Jerry coming in and adding our bulk compost to this berm. So if you missed the video on what in the world I'm talking about with this berm, we are going to be installing a pretty large flower bed berm here in the front of our house that will separate kind of the house, the personal property, from the nursery and the public gardens. This berm is, I just measured it when we were doing that other video. It is 113 feet long, and it varies anywhere from 50 feet wide to about, I think it was 28 feet wide in different places. We are going to be putting a split rail fence down the middle and planting on each side with lots of trees and shrubs and perennials, and then some annuals for some accents. We showed you, if you missed that video, check it out. I will link it for you. But we came in here and built this bed up. Now, berms can be of various sizes, right? I mean, they can be kind of what we're doing and just being a nice raised bed, or they can be like super, super tall. We don't want to completely block our view. We just want to have it built up a bit because this is on a slope, and so we built it up. We ended up having a total of 6 loads of screened soil brought in to build up the base. This is like native soil around here, so it still has that reddish look to it, but it has been screened. So there's not going to be like, you know, big rocks or different debris in there. Then what we did yesterday is that Jerry brought in the first round of this bulk compost blend, and you can contact a local garden center or a landscape supply company that is close to you, and odds are they're going to have some sort of compost blend. You can see though it's got leaf litter in there, it has mushroom compost, it has little bits of trees, very fine, and you can see that it's a lovely dark rich color. We have used this in multiple applications in our flower beds, and the plants have responded really, really well to it. So like I said, this was just the first round of it. We're gonna put this down, and then Jerry's gonna come back with the tiller and mix it in. Just add some really good nutrition to the flower bed so that these plants have a great head start. We just want to, like I said, build this up, add all this in because this is a brand new flower bed. So instead of amending each individual planting hole, we're going to amend the entire bed at the beginning, and that way everybody is off to a good start. Jerry is going to start putting in the fence the first of next week. So of course we will take you along for that ride as well. It'll be a lot of fun to see some structure to this bed. Several of you were asking about kind of an aerial view down. So of course we have the drone, and you can see the shape of the flower bed, the berm. Some people were saying, why don't you put some more curves in it, or that kind of thing, talking about the different kinds of shapes to it. On the front side, it is hard to see from this viewpoint, but there are curves on the front side of it. The back side is pretty straight, and we're doing that kind of on purpose, so that way in the future, if we want to add on to the flower bed, it makes it a little bit easier. And we are seeing it from our house, so we are very happy with the shape that it is. And then down here on the tip, you will see this is a narrow point, so the end of the berm, and then we have the display beds here at the entrance. We will have a gate here. That way, if we need to get equipment in, the Polaris, the tractor, Bobcat, what have you, we can easily open that gate and still have plenty of access to get to the back of the house. but we're coming right along. So getting in the rest of the compost blend, getting that mixed in, and then the fence. So once those two things are done, then we will probably start on the irrigation, and then hopefully get these plants in the ground that I shared with you sometime soon, because of course they will be much happier in the ground than they are in the container. Now, we're going to take you up to the other big project that we are working on. I have not seen the updates on this because a lot has happened in the past couple of days, and I understand that they have got some great posts in the ground for the new building up at production. So, and what? Yes. So, oh yeah, shrub update. I forgot about that. Jerry's talking to me behind the camera. We're going to show you some shrub updates, growing baby shrubs, and they are doing really well. So we got shrub update and the production building update that we want to share with you. So we're going to take a quick little ride up to production. Okay, so here we are up at production in the space for the new building. I'm going to, before we get too far into this, I'm going to say we are blessed with some beautiful, mature oak trees just off of my right shoulder, and if you are around oak trees for any length of time, you know that they have beautiful acorns, and so they are dropping like crazy. So hopefully I will not be like Chicken Little and think that the sky is falling, because we did have little bombs dropping everywhere. But here we go, the new building here on the back of our greenhouses. So remember, there are 3 structures that are up here. The first one, even though it has the shape of a greenhouse, is actually our dry storage. We took the 2 greenhouses that were originally at the nursery, the 2 Quonset hut greenhouses, put them together, cover them, and so it has a nice concrete floor, but we are using this as dry storage for different supplies. And then the second 2 are the production greenhouses. So that is where we do the vast majority of the growing of the annuals and the perennials and so forth. What we are doing is building a structure that is 22 feet wide and 78 feet long. This is going to be a multi-function building. Predominantly, it is going to be for production, and then when we venture into shipping, it will house all of the shipping facilities. So the boxing, the packaging, all of that. So Jerry gave me the lowdown and the specs before we got going, so hopefully I will remember everything correctly. It is a tight space because we are right on the edge of these beautiful woods, and we do not want to come in here and just take down these big trees. We did come in here and limb them up, so that way we've got good clearance. So that is why it's only 22 feet long, wide, because that way we can still get around, and if we want to expand little rooms off to the side, then we certainly can do that. But we are in tight quarters, so we have electrical, gas, and water all kind of running through here. We, of course, had everybody come out and mark their lines so we knew exactly where everything was, right? You always call, 811 before you dig. So the gas line was off where it was marked versus the actual gas line was off by like 2 feet. And when they were digging this first post, they hit the gas line. And so you can see it has now been repaired. Josh was the one up here, and so he quickly realized what had happened and went and turned the gas off, so everything was fine. But you can see right where that line is. We did have some really good rain yesterday and last night, hence is why it is full of water. But right when we were coming up here, we passed the gas man, and he has taken care of everything, fixed it all, so now we can put that soil back into the hole and all will be well. These support beams, the major post of the structure, are 6 by 6 by 16. That way we have plenty of room, plenty of clearance, plenty of good structure to hold this building together. So basically it's going to be pretty simple. On this wall will be a nice garage door. So this way we can, bring machinery in here, we can drive through here, lots of good entrance, and then there will be another garage door at the other end. So technically, if we wanted to, we could drive all the way through because access is very important. So 6 by 16, the roof. So what they're going to do is have the pre-made trusses built for the roof structure. So that whole process, of course, will take you along for all of that, but it's going to be at a slant. We're not going to have a peak. It'll just be a one-way lean. I don't know what the technical term for that is. A lean-to, yeah. So obviously closer to the greenhouses and the structures will be your highest point, and it will shed towards the woods. If you can look, Jerry has, we'll come down here and get out of the mud a little bit, but on the post you will see that there are blue chalk lines on all of the posts. So that is going to be where this blue line is. The concrete will come right up to this point. Once we have the concrete laid and everything is in here nice and sound, then that is when they are going to determine exactly how tall this wall is going to be. It's going to be somewhere between 10 to 12 feet tall. Of course, the taller the better, because you have more room and more clearance. This wall will pretty much be a solid wall. Again, if we need to have in the future build some rooms off to the back, we can do that, have a little bit of extra room. Down the center, it's going to be wide open. That is why we are using those pre-made trusses to have that good support, so we do not have to have support beams going down the center. Now, how are we going to connect it to these three structures? So the 6x6s are what, 2 feet off the structure? Roughly 2 feet off of the structure. So you're going to have a concrete pad, right, for the new building. Then this whole walkway here will be concrete, and we are going to go ahead and concrete inside of this greenhouse as well. We'll have walls that come right here. Can you, Jerry, come over here and maybe show them kind of the depth perception here? So here will be a wall, and then also on the other side there will be a wall, and then there will be a little bit of a roof. So that way you can come straight from the greenhouse that will have the sliding doors, right? So sliding doors within the greenhouse. You can open, you can close them, come through the concrete little pathway, and then you'll be straight into the new building. So you never have to go outside in the elements. This new building will be climate controlled, so that will be fantastic. Yeah, so each three of those structures will have that same kind of connecting hallways into the building. When we were here last time kind of introducing you to this project, somebody asked about the heat exhaust for the what we call production 2, because that was the second greenhouse that was built. Yes, we will have to extend that exhaust.
I think it's going to be extended up.
Yes.
Above the building.
All right, so it'll have to just go up and go up above the building, and it'll be fine. We are going to also be installing at some point during the winter a heater into production 1, because currently there is no heater in there. We grow things cold in there, which works out really, really well, like your petunias and your calibrachoas, and what else do we like to grow cold? We just did the order of all the early things that like it cold. My brain's going numb, but it's really like the petunias and the calibrachoas. You can grow them on the cool side without, you know,
White Knights,
a lot of heat. The alyssum, the lobularia do really well. But we did have, like last year, we had one night that got down to 18, 19 degrees. Oh, it was not good. And we did lose some plants. So we will use the heater in production 1 as, you know, emergency heat. So that way we don't have that problem. But speaking of cool weather plants, I want to give you a quick update while we're over here. And then we're also going to talk about the concrete that's going to go in this building. Because, anyway, we'll get there in a second. But these are all the sweet little violas that have been growing. So they have plugged them in. These are what we call 1801s. So there's 18 violas per tray. This is what they did come in. This was 288 plants in this tray. So to give you an idea, if you're shopping for your violas and pansies this time of year, those little babies didn't just magically appear. Somebody had to grow them. So when we get them, they're in this kind of tray, 288. That means there's 288 little plants in this tray. The bigger the number, the smaller the plant. Obviously before this, somebody had to grow them for us to get them to this point. So now here they are growing out, doing really well. And some of them are going a little faster than others, obviously, but these do like it cool. So in the day, it does warm up just from the radiant heat of the sun. All the sides are open, but they're doing great. Jerry keeps them watered, giving them fertilizer, doing really well. This floor, again, will be concreted because for production uses, right? So if we get into shipping and doing different things, you're gonna have a lot of carts that are rolling, and carts don't roll really well on gravel. So everything will be concrete so we can move around with ease and comfort for sure. Now we can come over here to production 2, because this is where we have a lot of shrubs that are growing. You can see that we have concrete in here. We did concrete in this one last year and it was great. With the first time growing concrete greenhouse, we really enjoyed it. You can see the gardenias are doing well.
Sold one today.
Sold one today. There you go. Steady Eddie. This is the, not Steady Eddie, Steady As She Goes. Steady Eddie is the viburnum. So Steady As She Goes gardenia, and it is doing really well. The first gardenia from Proven Winners. Then we have the azaleas that are just blooming their little heads off over here. Gorgeous color. This is the Perfecto Mundo Double Purple. This was developed, I believe, in NC State. Doing really well. Love that. But lots of different azaleas are growing in here. We also have, I was going to say this, I don't know which hydrangea this is.
There's punch and firelight.
Well, this one is looking great.
Yeah.
This one is...
Yeah, I don't go by the tags.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, this is a beautiful hydrangea. How about that? Look at that. Beautiful.
I think it's punch.
Lots of good growth on it. Gorgeous. And then, of course, the barberries right next door. That is Neo. And man, they have taken off. They are beautiful. You'll remember I just planted some Neos just the other week. So we're growing things in this greenhouse that, again, we're not using heat. Really, we use the heat when we're growing our annuals, which will start. Our first shipment is 1st of February?
January.
Oh,
18th, somewhere around that week, middle of the part.
January the 18th, roughish, when we get our first annuals. So you, as growers, we want to get our orders in as early as possible. And so we have just submitted our early orders to Proven Winners, folks over there at Pleasant View, so that way they can have all of the great annuals for us, so that we can have the great annuals for you. And yeah, January the 18th. So we've got a lot of things to get done in the time period between now and January. No sweat. This will all work out, and it'll be fantastic. Things are moving at a very nice rapid rate. It certainly helps when it gets cooler. When the temperatures go down, it makes being outside so much more pleasurable and enjoyable, so we can get a lot of work done. So hopefully you've enjoyed this little update on these 2 big projects. Of course, we'll keep you along for everything as it goes along. But as always, thank you for all your support and encouragement, and we appreciate you. Y'all get out there, enjoy this lovely fall weather. As always, thanks so much for gardening with Creekside. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.